guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, we're going to finally start to get the trial going next week. The trial officially begins in the case of the murder of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. They concluded the initial portion of jury selection this evening, late this afternoon in Colorado. And as of right now, they do have 120 potential jurors that they will select from on April 3rd. And they will whittle that down to, I believe, Judge Warner said 18. So let's watch this clip from local affiliate KOAA 5, just to give you guys a bit of info on the case for those that are not as familiar with the case for justice for Gannon Stauch.
We've been preparing for this case from day one, from the day that Gannon went missing.
It started with an 11-year-old boy reported missing from his home in Lorson Ranch. And now his stepmom, Letecia Stauch, is pleading not guilty to his murder.
We just have a lot of different evidence from all over the place.
Investigators say Letecia killed Gannon, then drove his body to Florida, where it was found months later under a bridge and inside of a suitcase. His autopsy says a gunshot wound and blunt force trauma were the causes of death, and also found over a dozen sharp force injuries. Lead prosecutor on the case and district attorney for the 4th Judicial District, Michael Allen, says COVID has affected everything at the courthouse.
Despite the pandemic, despite everything that we've had as far as challenges related to the pandemic, the criminal justice system is still working.
He's confident they can seat an impartial jury for the trial, but does expect it to take a little more time.
So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we are within that 6-month speedy trial deadline.
Stauch also faces a solicitation to escape charge, a separate case, which will be dealt with after the trial.
Okay, so like I said, they completed the major portion of jury selection, which took them, this was day 6 today, and they got the 120 potential jurors. Judge Warner wanted at least 110 due to folks maybe between now and Monday not being able to serve on this jury and other factors, as well as challenges and what have you from both the defense and the prosecution. So they're going to whittle that down to, I believe, the 18, like I said. And then it looks like, I believe the trial is going to start probably on April 4th. There will be no court for this particular case on Thursdays, as Judge Warner has other court cases and business he has to take care of. So the trial will go for 6 weeks. They figure about 6 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So this is the Gazette, and they have, this update was Friday. There's not a whole lot of updates I've seen yet. I'm assuming in the next 24 to so hours we'll see some more coming out. But unfortunately, due to the whole school shooting in Nashville, there's just way too much tragedy going on, and it just never seems to end. Letecia Stauch trial, second sanity report, findings announced, jury selection continues. All right, so let's see. Those are the attorneys here. Let me actually come back up. This would be the district attorney's office, some of the attorneys right here. Attorneys representing Letecia Stauch revealed Tuesday that their psychiatrist concluded in her report that Stauch was insane and, quote, in a psychotic state, unquote, at the time of her stepson Gannon's murder. Stauch is accused of killing her 11-year-old stepson, Gannon Stauch, in January 2020 and driving his body to Florida, where she attempted to dispose of his remains. Stauch appeared in court for her second day of trial wearing a light blue button-up shirt and dress pants. The findings of the defense's sanity report, conducted by Dr. Dorothy Lewis, were unknown until Tuesday, so this was again last week, when defense attorney Josh Tolini informed the potential jurors in the courtroom that his expert found Stauch to be insane. You know, I think I'm no expert. I will never never even possibly even say I was. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist. But I think that you can be insane or have mental issues and not kill somebody. A lot of people have mental disease. And I don't believe that that's a good excuse in my opinion. Again, that's I don't really go with the insanity plea. I'm definitely against it for the most part. But you guys let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Especially when it comes to a child. It's just one of those things that, you know, you have to wonder. It's like, okay, so you had a psychotic break or whatever these folks refer to it as, and you went crazy and you attacked a defenseless child. And from what we're understanding, she beat him, she cut him, and she shot him in the jaw, and then she put him in a suitcase. And she moved him at least twice. So there was rational thought of some sort involved in that. And I know from hearing a lot of the potential jurors, they were finding it hard to go with that plea as well. They just, you know, I think you could be crazy and still know what you're doing. Court records show that the report was filed to the court on Thursday after significant complaints from the 4th Judicial District Attorney, Michael Allen, about not receiving the report at the pre-trial readiness conference earlier this month. Yeah, they had a lot of issues with the defense getting them this report. That was definitely an issue. Allen said at Stauch's pre-trial conference that if the report was not received before trial, the prosecution could move to exclude Dr. Lewis from testifying. Allen said that not having the report bordered on, quote, bad faith, unquote, from the defense's expert. Yeah, they've had quite a lot of time to do this, report. This is a disrespect to court deadlines, Allen said at the pre-trial readiness conference. I've never seen anything like this. The frustration from Allen was shared by Judge Gregory Warner, who openly questioned how 13 months after Stauch pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity to all charges, and 7 months since Stauch's first sanity report was filed with the court, the defense's report had yet to be filed. Yeah, I find that to be dragging their feet as well. Delays in the case have occurred in part because of the sanity evaluation. Initially, Stauch, 39, pleaded not guilty to the charges. But in February 2022, Warner granted her permission to change her plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. Again, it's too bad Colorado allows for that. Idaho does not, I have a couple cases I'm covering on in Idaho, and we just discussed Sarah Wanderer, who's finally fit to proceed, because they don't go with that. You got Lori Daybell, which I will not be covering here, but a lot of other great YouTube creators are covering that case. And Idaho just doesn't go for that. The first mental health evaluation conducted by the psychiatric hospital in Pueblo found Stauch to be sane, Warner said at a hearing in August. That's because I personally believe she is sane. Tuesday marked the first time that the findings of the second sanity evaluation had been revealed. The woman conducting the evaluation, Dr. Lewis, is a former clinical professor of psychiatry at Yale University, the author of several books on the topic of the insanity plea, and the subject of the documentary, Crazy Not Insane. Yeah, that might kind of describe her. What do you think? The documentary outlines Lewis's work with notorious killers such as Ted Bundy, Arthur Shawcross, John Allen Muhammad, and many others. Lewis is expected to testify at some point during the trial. I would think she would be, if that's a key portion of the defense's case. Another 75 potential jurors were welcomed into court Tuesday morning for the second day of Stauch's jury selection. All right, we can kind of move you on through this. This is basically discussing the jurors, and they have, like I said, they have, as of today, they got 120 potentials, and their goal was 110 who could serve on the jury without conflict. So let's see here. All right, yeah, this was discussing a lot of what the jurors had to say. Like I said, I was listening to a lot of the questioning of the jurors, thanks to Sleuth Mom, and I will be linking to her channel here, as I believe she will be doing a streaming of the case as well. Since I work during the day, I'm not able to do any live streams, but I do highly recommend you subscribe to her channel, and for that, if you want to watch this case. Many potential jurors will likely be unable to be present for the entirety of the trial. Others have been exposed to media coverage of the case, according to Warner, who said he expects the trial to last at least through mid-May. Concerns over the length of the trial have arisen when... Okay. Then you have several potential jurors have health issues. I know there was one today that was on oxygen. Either that or loved ones would be... They're their main caregivers, what have you. Others told Warner, the judge, that past experiences with child abuse would make it difficult for them to serve. Yep, then you had those last week, and I believe another day as well, that they told the judge and the attorneys that they couldn't be unbiased. They couldn't be. I know personally I could not sit on a jury against someone like Letecia Stauch. My mind is made up, and I am positive I can't overcome my bias, one potential juror informed Judge Warner. I just don't believe she is insane, another potential juror remarked. I know I couldn't change my mind, yet a third person stated. You hear a lot of biases. And of course the judge was trying to see if they could put that aside and go by the evidence that was constantly spoken about by the judge as well as both attorneys. Let's see. Stauch faces 13 charges, including first-degree murder, child abuse, and tampering with evidence. And then, of course, like they stated in the news clip, she's also got a second case behind this one, which she's accused of attempting to escape from El Paso County Jail in May of 2020. So, she faces life in prison if convicted of first-degree murder. So, yeah, the death penalty is not on the table in this particular case. That said, I really hope that they can overhear that, because they can make sure that we get justice for this guy right here. Just like we've said before. And I may be newer to Gannon's case, but I have a very hard time when someone hurts a child, and I know I'm not the only one. And the evidence against Letecia, and for those that went through, as I read, the arrest affidavit, which was 32 pages long, but while that may have been long, there was like 100, I believe, well over 100 initially, before they broke it down. So there's just so much evidence, in my opinion, from what I've gathered. There's just no way that she's not guilty, and I believe she's not insane to the degree that she didn't know what she was doing. So I don't know, I'm hoping that that's not something that, the jury buys. But again, we do want to make sure in every case that they get a a jury panel that's going to be fair and impartial. And that's really important, and that's why the state is going to be just as making sure when they speak to this jury during voir dire, because that's how mistrials happen. That's how all kinds of things happen. You need to make sure that as hated and as much as we all that believe completely that Letecia Stauch killed this sweet little boy, that she did. It's a right in this country. As much as I don't like it, and I know a lot of you guys don't like it either, it's everyone's right to a fair trial in the United States of America. So they always want to make sure that's the case. And it's the same thing when it came to little Tommy Valva. As horrific as these people, these adults are, that these children should be able to trust, and and they're treated so much better in jail. I mean, it's the things she did to Gannon. I mean, it's horrific. And I will say again, this is going to be a case that's going to be tough for anyone. It's probably tougher than Tommy's case, or at least as tough to hear. So if for some reason that's hard for you, please do take care of yourself first. I will make sure I put more trigger warnings up when we discuss further details once the trial itself begins. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you following this case? Are you gonna watch or listen to the trial when it starts next week? Let me know. And with that said and done, that's all I've got for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.